And welcome to another episode of GamerHeads. My name is Roger, aka Rogue Leader 76, and with me is our brand new co-host. Well, I guess last week was your debut, but now you're a veteran, Mr. Christian Kubza. Kubza,
yeah.
Is that how you pronounce?
Kubza, you got it.
Nice.
Yeah, I'm very glad to be on the show, and yeah, I'm a seasoned veteran. I know all the podcast lingo, and I'm good to go.
We have a really big show tonight. We have Jean Leggett from OneMoreStoryGames. We had an interview with her that's going to be later on in the episode.
Yeah.
Before we get into that, though, we're going to have a game called Buy It or Leave It. But I want to ask you a question, Christian.
Yeah.
I have a little icebreaker question so our listeners get to know us a little bit more.
Perfect.
And the question is, how often do you play the free games that you get with PlayStation Plus or Games with Gold?
Ooh, this is a good question. You start, Roger.
You know...
Oh, no.
I don't play them all that often. I don't.
Yeah.
So here's the weird thing. So, like, you get, like, 3 games with PlayStation Plus.
Yep.
You get, like, 4 games, I think, with Games with Gold. And I also have Game Pass as well. And I pay the subscription cost for these things. And I always tell myself, man, I'm not going to have to buy another game because all these games are available to me. And I go and buy new games all the time.
Roger.
And I rarely play. I rarely play the free games that I get, the free, and I use quotation because it's a service, obviously, you're paying service. But I rarely play the games that you get with the subscription service. And man, I don't know why that is. And it's not that they're all that terrible. I mean, there's actually some really good games that you get with that service. It's just I don't know. The reason I made me think or ask that question because they just announced the games for Games with Gold.
Yep.
And it's gonna be For Honor, which is, I mean, I don't know. I guess it was it's kind of a big name, I guess, big game.
Yeah.
And then Forza Horizon 2 Sport or something like that.
Yeah.
And then Epic Mickey 2, and then I can't remember what the other one was for the 360.
Not a bad lineup.
No, and then I just read that PlayStation was saying, "Oh, you think that was great? Wait until you see our lineup, which is going to be announced, I guess, this Wednesday." So.
Oh, really? I'm excited.
Yeah, I know.
Well, yeah, you say that you don't play a lot of them, but I tend to play the ones that interest me, the ones that tickle my fancy. So, I started getting PlayStation Plus like back in, I want to say 2016 was maybe when I started my PlayStation Plus collecting or whatever you want to call it.
Wow, not that long ago.
Yeah, not that long ago, because that's when I got a PS4, and so that's when, I needed PlayStation Plus to actually play games online. So I just got it and then just started accumulating the free games. But yeah, there's a lot of interesting games that come up for free on PlayStation Plus, and sometimes there's like a free game that'll like hit me and it'll be a game that I've been wanting to play and it just lines up perfectly. But yeah, I use the PlayStation Plus free games as kind of an excuse to kind of branch out and try new and different things. And as you know, I'm a trophy hunter, so
Yes.
There have been plenty of PlayStation Plus games that I've gotten platinums for because I ended up enjoying them. So like Day of the Tentacle Remastered, that was
Wait, that was a free game?
Yeah, it was. And so I played it through, I got the platinum trophy, and I enjoyed it a whole lot.
Did I not get that game? Because I played that game when it first came out when I was a kid.
Really?
When I was in high school.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, it came out back in like January of 2017, I want to say.
Crap, I have to check.
Yeah, I played that. I enjoyed it a lot. I played Transformers Devastation thanks to PlayStation Plus. I enjoyed that a lot. There's this fun little B-movie esque game called The Deadly Tower of Monsters. I got the platinum for that. That was a lot of fun. It was just this fun little experience, and it was really campy and dopey, and I enjoyed it. And then there was a game called Stories: The Path of Destinies, which is not a game I would have played in a million years, but it was free for PlayStation Plus. So I was like, okay, I'll give it a try. And then I ended up getting the platinum trophy in that game because I ended up really enjoying it. And it was kind of this fun little story-based thing, and you'd hit these branching nodes, and then you'd make a choice, and then you just go and see everything that the story had to offer. So that was a game I liked a lot. Everybody's Gone to the Rapture. That was a PlayStation Plus game that I enjoyed a lot.
That was another PlayStation Plus game?
And I got the platinum trophy for that one, and that was a lot of fun.
Oh, man.
Jeez, Roger, you're missing out.
I guess I missed out on some of the, I feel like, I've been a member for a long time. I don't remember some of these games. Maybe I'll have to just go in my library and just see if I, hopefully downloaded them.
Yeah, hopefully you did.
Added to.
Yeah. Until Dawn was another one that I enjoyed a lot.
You did?
Yeah.
That was another campy kind of.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, I got the platinum trophy in that one too, Roger.
Oh my goodness, you are our trophy hunter.
Yeah, but more recently, I kind of went on a little bit of a PlayStation Plus kick. Since you're talking about it, I played Trackmania Turbo, which is
kind of a fun game.
Yeah, and it was a game that I have a friend who plays, and he played it on PC, and I heard good things about it. But I just didn't think it would be something that I would be very interested in. So I didn't want to like take the time to actually invest into playing this game if I had to spend money for it. But since it was free, I was like, okay, I'll play it. And then because it was free, a couple other people played it, and it's very much high score based. You try and get the fastest time on a track. And I played it for a little bit, and I was hooked. I was seeing it through to the end. And I ended up getting the Platinum Trophy in Trackmania Turbo, which to this day is my rarest trophy that only a few thousand other people in the world have.
Wow. How many platinum trophies do you have?
Right now, my count is 77.
Holy
my
cow!
Life goal is 100.
Hey, you didn't add me on PlayStation, by the way.
No, I didn't. Yeah, I gotta add you.
So I can compare my.
Yeah.
I compare my trophies with yours, which are going to be terrible.
Nah. It's fun seeing what other people play. That's why I like looking at trophies. I like saying, oh, this person played this and this. So I could talk to them about that. But yeah, I played Trackmania Turbo, and then Beyond Two Souls was out on PlayStation Plus, so I played that through like 3 times to get the Platinum Trophy. And then the 2 other games, Tearaway Unfolded, that was free for PlayStation Plus a while back, and that's been on my backlog. And then I finally played through that and got the Platinum Trophy on that. Yeah, it's great. I enjoyed it a whole lot. Another great game that I enjoyed a lot because of PlayStation Plus is Rayman Legends, another game that's been on my backlog that PlayStation Plus let me play. I played it. It took a long time to get the Platinum Trophy, but I did it, and I enjoyed it a whole lot.
What is, this is a little bit off topic here of our hot topic, but
Let's do it.
I mean of our icebreaker, I should say. What is the most difficult trophy that you hunted that you're just like, or what's one that has eluded you? There we go. Let's answer that one first. What's the one that eluded you?
Okay, there's one that eluded me because of not entirely of my own doing, but also because of the developers doing, which is Destiny 2. There is one trophy that I need for the Platinum, and that's been the case for, I want to say, going on a year now. A little after Destiny 2 came out, like a month after, so it's a long time now. About half a year, I've had one trophy to get the Platinum, and the trophy is for completing a Nightfall, which are like these little raid things, completing it on a hard difficulty. And when the game first came out, it was pretty easy, but I didn't have anyone I was playing with, so I couldn't get it. And then they patched the game because they made hard difficulty Nightfalls require a DLC purchase. So they changed it to you have to beat an entire raid on a hard difficulty, which is significantly harder, and you need like 8 people to do it, or like 6 people. And that's not happening. That's just not happening. It's sad. It's sad that I'll be forever one trophy away from my Destiny 2 Platinum.
Oh, wow, that's amazing. I'll have to go through mine and see what kind of. I don't have any platinum trophies right now. I'll just tell you that right now.
Yeah, I'm okay with that. I don't look at you as some subhuman or anything like that.
Oh,
I look at you in like I hold you in high esteem because of that, Roger. Because you had the fortitude not to succumb to the depths that I have as far as trophies are concerned.
I know, but I think that's why having you on the podcast. I think, and that's the reason why I wanted you on the podcast, because you come from a different perspective, where you really, you're more of a hardcore gamer than I am. So
yeah,
it's a good mix. So
yeah, awesome. Yeah, I'm really glad to be on the show, Roger.
Well, I'm glad to have you on. So listeners, we're gonna play a little game now that Christian and I will play together. It's called Buy It or Leave It. So what we'll do here in this game is we'll go through the different games that are coming out for the rest of the year, and Christian and I will say whether we think you should buy it, put it as part of your collection, or leave it on the shelf. So we played this once before, I think last year. I had Matt and Jake give their feedback, and now I have Christian. So here we go. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
All right, cue the music, and let's begin. All right, so the first game. Overcooked 2 comes out for the Switch, PlayStation 4, Xbox One, and PC. Are you going to buy it or leave it?
I would say buy it. I enjoyed the first one a whole lot. It's a great co-op experience.
Yeah. I agree. And this one, they're going to have online support.
Thank you. That's awesome.
Yeah. What are you going to buy it on? I'm going to buy mine on the Switch, I think.
Oh, yeah, that's tempting. I know that the first one had some performance issues on the Switch, but if they clean those up for the second one, absolutely.
Nice. Next game we have here, We Happy Few, comes on PS4, Xbox One, and PC. Buy it or leave it?
This is a tough one. This is a tough one because this has been in like early access or whatever for a long time, and it was a little shaky there. But I've been hearing good things about this relaunch, but I'd say leave it. Leave it until we hear more.
100% agree. I'm going to say leave it at this point until we hear more. And I think that we have a lot of... I mean, these games are all still August release games, so I think like we have a lot of games that are coming out within the next couple months that I think might take up more time. That I would rather spend time with those games than We Happy Few. So.
Yeah.
All right, my next game here. I don't know much about this game. Death's Gamut is for PS4 and PC. Do you know what's this game about?
I can't tell you, Roger. This one escapes me.
Well then, I would say leave it.
Yeah. I guess it's an RPG.
Okay. Well, it's on PS4 and PC.
Yeah.
Since I don't know much about it, I'm going to say leave it as well.
Oh.
Guacamelee 2 for PS4 and PC.
I've heard fantastic things about this first one, and I played it a little bit, but if you got someone to play with, I'd say buy it.
Yeah, I'd say buy it too. So you don't have the Platinum Trophy for the first Guacamelee?
No, I don't, Roger. You found a gap.
Man. Dude. Do you have it? What do you have the first one on, though?
I have it on PC, so that's what I played it. I played it for like an hour or so, not very long.
Okay. Do they? So I'm not much of a PC gamer. Do they have the same trophy system as PS4 or not really?
No, they have Steam achievements, but those don't get me going, Roger, because they are so easily manipulated. You got console commands where you can just type in something and get all the achievements on a game. So
that's
it breaks
cheap.
it. Yeah, it's not the same.
Monster Hunters Generations Ultimate on the Switch.
This one's. I'd say this one comes with a caveat. If you have Monster Hunter World, you can leave this one. If you don't, you want Monster Hunter, get it. Yeah,
I agree. I think if you're just a Switch owner and you don't have like a PS4, Xbox One, or PC, has Monster Hunter World come to the PC yet? I know that there was.
It was coming very soon.
Okay.
Very soon.
But yeah, I guess if you don't have that game and you just have a Switch, yeah, I agree. I would pick it up for the Switch. I mean, it looks cool, but you know, I don't know. Even Monster Hunter Worlds, this is really sacrilegious, I guess, if you will.
Yeah.
Sacrilege, but I didn't really like it that much. I don't know. I just didn't get into it, and I think part of it is that all my friends were like way farther than me, and then when I was asking them to help me with stuff, you know, it wasn't fair to them because they're farther than me, and I just, it's one of those games you have to have friends to play with.
Definitely. Yeah, it definitely helps to have friends.
So just out of curiosity, the Switch games, because they don't have a trophy system, does that deter you from playing more Switch games?
In a sense it does, but indirectly, because I have a list of games that I want to play through on PlayStation and get the trophies while I'm playing through them, and that will like take my time away from a Switch game. But at the same time, it's kind of this euphoric experience to just play something on Switch and not have to worry about these arbitrary trophy requirements.
So it lets you enjoy the game more.
Exactly, yeah. Yeah.
The next game on our list here is Spider-Man for the PS4. Yeah. Buy it or leave it?
I'm hearing great things about this. I'd say buy it.
Yeah, me too. I mean, this game, I think this game has so much hype. I'm a little worried that it won't. I mean, not saying that it won't live up to the hype, but I'm a little worried that people are going to be have over expectations for it. That's my only concern, is that people are so excited about it that it won't live up to their expectations.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that it wouldn't be a great game. It's just that if you have really, really high expectations, it's sometimes hard to deliver on those.
Yeah, that's how I felt about God of War when the hype was intensifying over God of War, up to release, when we didn't really see a whole lot like gameplay wise until like right up to the end there. So I tried to temper my expectations. I was like, okay, this game's probably not going to be good. I'm just going to tell myself that. And then it came out and it was great. So now I'm totally okay expecting great things out of Insomniac in that Spider-Man game.
Nice. Yeah. I'm excited. I'd say buy it, this game for sure.
Definitely.
Shadow of the Tomb Raider for PS4, Xbox One, and PC. Buy it or leave it.
This one's tough. What do you say, Roger?
Boy, I don't know. I mean, I've heard again good things about this.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna say if you're a big fan, if you're a fan of Tomb Raider and you're a fan of like those types of games, those adventure types games, then I would say buy it for sure.
Yeah.
I think you're not gonna be disappointed for sure. I don't think that you're gonna be wasting your money if you buy this game.
Mm-hmm.
I think the hard part is that it's competing with games that are coming out like Spider-Man, right? So. Yeah, I don't think they're coming out on the same day, but certainly around each other. So I think that's going to be a little bit difficult for Tomb Raider.
Yeah,
but if you have Xbox One, I think that maybe this is your answer that you don't have if you don't have a PS4.
Yeah.
That, don't play Spider-Man. This is the game you'd go to instead.
Yeah, I'd say if you already finished the first and second one and loved them, then definitely pick up this one because it seems to be more of the same, more or less.
Mm-hmm. Spyro Reignited Trilogy for PS4 and Xbox One. You gonna buy it?
Yeah, I'm buying it. I'm buying it day one. The what am I thinking? The Crash trilogy. I picked that up release day. It hit me at the perfect time. I burned through every single one of those games, all three of them, and got the platinum trophies, 100% of them, and I loved it. Yeah. It hit me at just the right time. I loved it so much. And this Spyro trilogy, I've never played through completely a Spyro game. So I'm not sure if it'll hit me in the right mood like Crash did, but I'm absolutely down to, revisit some of these PlayStation 1 trilogies in a way that is very faithful to the originals.
I don't see it listed for the Switch at all.
No, yeah, that's correct. They don't currently have plans to, but I wouldn't be surprised if it made its way there eventually.
Yeah, because the Crash trilogy wasn't originally going to be on the Switch either, and then it did.
Yep.
Eventually, so I know people are gonna be saying "huh" when I say this, but I'm gonna say leave it. I think that there's a lot of other games that will take a lot of your time. I think that maybe if you can find this one after the holidays, after you're able to like get through a lot of the other games, then maybe it's just something to go back to. But I don't know. I'm just not. I was never really into the Spyro games. I know. Yeah. I know it's terrible to say that, but I just really wasn't. So.
No, there's nothing wrong with it. And at their core, there's still the PlayStation 1 games that were created back then. So if that's not going to do it for you, then there's no point in picking this up.
Yeah. Agreed. All right, FIFA 19 for the Switch, Xbox One, PS4, PC, PS3, and Xbox 360.
Jeez, they're going back. This is like Just Dance still coming out on Wii.
I know. Actually, that was. Just wait until we get to that game.
Yeah. I'm excited. Well, Roger, I've never played a FIFA, and I don't intend to start now, so I'd say leave it.
I agree. I mean, I think, I don't know. I just never really got into a FIFA game either. And I mean, they intrigue me, and I kind of want to play them. I think that they sound interesting, but I think that if you are into FIFA games and you have a previous version, I think wait until the game goes on sale about halfway through the year. Mm-hmm. The game will go through on sale. The same thing happens with Madden games.
Yeah.
Wait until it goes on sale and then pick it up then. I don't understand why you have to pay full price for these types of games.
Yeah. Yeah, I know some retailers, they do like a trade-in program where you can trade in the previous years and get like $20 off for the game, but even then, I wouldn't bite the bullet. But I mean, these FIFA games have hardcore followings from a global perspective, so I mean, it's gonna get bought by someone.
Yeah. No, There's the hardcore people that will buy every year. So
yeah.
Forza Horizon 4 for Xbox One and PC. Buy it or leave it.
I hopped onto the Horizon series with Forza Horizon 3, and I put I'd say 20-30 hours into it, and I loved it. I enjoyed it very much. Not my favorite racing franchise, but it's a whole lot of fun. I enjoyed it a lot. And if Forza Horizon 4, it looks like it's building off of, the third one, which already built off the previous two, so I'd say buy this one. What about you, Roger?
I really want to buy this game.
Yeah.
Because I really liked the previous Forza games. But I don't know. I mean, it looks gorgeous and it looks amazing.
Of course.
I think I know your answer to this too. To me, I think Burnout Paradise is probably my favorite racing game. So I don't know. It's hard for me to compare that to this game. So
yeah, it's a little more grounded and a little more steeped in reality than something like Burnout.
Yeah. So that's the reason that I mean, is it too much realistic? I don't know. We'll see. I think the reason. Well, I have Game Pass, so this should actually come out on my Game Pass, so I should be able to play it.
Yeah,
so.
That's a great nab, actually.
Yeah. All right, Mega Man 11 for PS4, Xbox One, PC, or Switch. Buy it or leave it.
This one's tough, Roger. This one's tough. I've played through Mega Man's 1 through 8 and enjoyed most of them thoroughly.
How did you like the first Mega Man?
I enjoy it quite a bit. Not as much as Mega Man 2. I feel like that's when the series hit its early peak. But
yeah, everybody says that too. I agree with that.
Yeah. Mighty Number 9 kind of left me burnt, and I'm not sure what to expect with this one. I don't really have any reason to feel like Capcom would mismanage this Mega Man 11, but I would say wait a little bit. Probably wait on it until we hear more.
Yeah, I agree. I'm going to say the same thing. I'm going to say wait on it. I am a big fan of Mega Man, but I'm going to wait on it. I think if I do pick it up, though, I might get it on the Switch. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
Just because it just feels right to be on a Nintendo system,
Absolutely, yeah.
Assassin's Creed Odyssey for PS4, Xbox One, and PC.
Well, I put a lot of hours into Assassin's Creed Origins. That's one of my platinum trophies. I put somewhere in the realm of 70, 80 hours into it.
Holy cow.
And as someone who did that, Assassin's Creed Odyssey doesn't really appeal to me all that much. I think I could just wait for a while until I feel like something like that will strike me more. So yeah, I'd say wait until it goes on sale, probably.
I think for me, I was gonna, with Assassin's Creed Origins, when that game came out, I was gonna say wait, and then I got bought into the hype, and I got it, and I did, and I love it. I think it's a great game. It's probably between that and Black Flag, which are my two favorite Assassin's Creed games.
Yeah.
I will say if Odyssey is around the story of the Homer's Odyssey.
Yeah.
I will definitely have to pick it up because I'm a huge, I went to school for history and religious studies, so to me anything like that, I'm just in awe of how cool that is. So I would probably pick it up if they really focus on that. So
awesome. Yeah.
Super Mario Party for the Switch.
Yeah. You see, you know what Mario Party is. You know what you're getting. Hopefully they don't pull a Mario Party, what is it, 10? Wii U Mario Party on us?
Yeah.
If they don't, I'd say pick it up if Mario Party's your thing.
Are you gonna buy it?
I'm seriously considering it, yes.
Okay. Because it would be fun if I got it and we hook up our Switches together and see how that works. That's the part I'm excited about. I don't know why it sounds weird, but it's not so much I'm excited to play that mode. It's more of excitement to see how that works. How I'm just so interested in the technology behind it. So yeah. If you get it, I'm getting it. So I think I'm gonna say buy it. All
right. Come October, that's what's happening.
All right. Call of Duty. We should step back. We should do, if we do get that game, we should do a YouTube or a Twitch stream of that. So.
Absolutely, that would be a lot of fun.
That would be fun. Call of Duty Black Ops 4, PS4, Xbox One, or PC.
Well, Roger, what's your Call of Duty lineage here?
I will say I am not a Call of Duty guy, so I'm gonna say leave it. I liked. What was the series before it was Call of Duty? Or maybe it wasn't even related, but it was something Heroes. Medal of Honor.
Yep.
I liked those games. I really liked the World War II aspect of it, but then, I don't know, I just, year after year, it was pretty much the same stuff, and I just kind of got sick of it. Even the Battlefield games, I picked up Battlefield 1, and I just lost interest in it so fast. So I'm gonna say leave it.
Okay, so my Call of Duty lineage goes way back. I've played a lot of Call of Duty games. I enjoy the campaigns quite a bit. I enjoy playing through them on the hardest difficulty and getting all the trophies. So I've played a lot of kind of the World at War. I missed Modern Warfare 2. I played a lot of Modern Warfare 3, Black Ops 1, 2, and a little bit of 3. I played a lot of Infinite Warfare and actually enjoyed it a lot because of the campaign. And obviously they got rid of the campaign this time around, which is kind of a bummer.
Yeah.
So I want to say I'm not going to get it, but I'm really scared that I am going to get it when it gets here. But I'm going to say leave it, Roger. I'm going to say leave it.
Yeah. So, were they... So is there going to be... Is it this game? So I always get this game in Battlefield 5 and mixed up. Is this the game that they're saying they're going to have a Battle Royale mode in it? Or is there talks about having a Battle Royale?
Yes, it is going to have a Battle Royale mode. It has been confirmed.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm going to say leave it.
Okay.
You got other games like Fortnite and, that's free?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. If that's the kind of style, if that's what your interest to you, I'd say look at other options. Yeah. So that's just me. Starlink, Battle for Atlas, Switch, PS4, and Xbox One. Buy it or leave it.
It's got Star Fox.
It does, but is it only for the Switch that has Star Fox?
I want to say probably.
I think so too.
Yeah, this is a game that doesn't necessarily appeal to me. I've never invested into a Toys to Life game in the past, and I'm not going to start now. So I'm going to say leave it, Roger.
How is the PS4 and Xbox One going to handle the Toys to Life? Are they going to have a portal that they're going to have to include?
I'd assume so. I'd assume that's how it would work.
Yeah, see, and I just, I think it's weird. I thought this was strictly a Switch game, but then I saw it was coming out on PS4 and Xbox One. And I just think it's, they tried it with Disney Infinity, and while I liked it a lot, I think Disney Infinity is great. It didn't do well, I think I like Star Fox a lot. If I were to get it, it would be on a Switch. And I think that the Toys of Life would work well on a Switch for those games. I know they're coming out with a Star Fox version too. Yeah. Or Star Fox toy, I should say. But I think there's so many games, as I said before, there's so many games that are coming out this holiday that are going to take up more of my time. So it's one of those games that I think I'm going to leave it. I'm going to say leave it and wait for it. Wait to see what the response is going to be, and then get the stuff at reduced cost.
Yeah, definitely.
The next game we have on the list here is Battlefield 5 for PS4, Xbox One, or PC. Buy it or leave it.
Well, Battlefield 1 hit me in a really good spot, and I enjoyed it thoroughly. I enjoyed it a whole lot. I liked how they pared back kind of the customization that was present in Battlefield 4, because I tried to jump into Battlefield 4 like a year after release, and it was extremely overwhelming, and there's these people killing me with attachments that I didn't understand, and I'm getting shot from across the map and I don't know why. And Battlefield 1 kind of simplified things, and I really hope that that's the direction that they continue to take with Battlefield 5, and I think it is taking place in World War II, so I'd say buy it.
Yeah. Okay. I'm going to say leave it because I know you had such a great experience with Battlefield 1. I had the opposite. I think I was the same way that you felt with Battlefield 4. I was getting hit from, things that I didn't understand. Like, how did this person hit me from so far away? I never even saw this guy. It just didn't appeal to me. And even the campaign mode, I know, it just didn't appeal to me very much. So I'm going to say leave it.
Yeah.
Red Dead Redemption 2 for PS4, Xbox One. Buy it or leave it.
Well, this is an easy one for me, Roger. I'm buying this one, absolutely. When Grand Theft Auto 5 was first coming around, that was a God of War situation where I was like, the hype, it can't be met. This game isn't going to be as good. I'm going to go in thinking this game's going to suck. And then the reviews came out and they're like, this game's fantastic. I played it. I loved it. So I'm going to have to be on board for Red Dead Redemption 2.
Me too. Buy it. Anybody that knows this podcast knows that we love Red Dead Redemption.
Yeah.
Absolutely love that game. Oh my god, that game is so good.
Yeah.
Gosh, this game is so good. I'm super excited about this game.
Yeah.
I say buy it for sure. Absolutely. Fallout 76 for PS4, Xbox One, or PC. Buy it or leave it.
This one's tough, Roger. I feel like most people who are interested in a Fallout game can go back and play either 3 New Vegas or 4, one that they haven't experienced yet, and get what they want out of Fallout, and they can leave this one. Unless they're going in with a crew that they know they'll play with.
Yeah. No, I agree with that. I think that's the same thing that I would say. If you know people that you're going to be playing this game with, then buy it.
Yeah.
But I agree. I mean, because I was going to say, I mean, actually I told a group of my friends, I'm like, I'm not probably not gonna buy that, and they're like, what? You don't want to start a shelter with us? I'm like, okay, maybe I will buy it. So, so I mean, I might be guilted into buying this one. I'm not sure. We'll see.
Yeah.
I think this is one that I'm gonna wait to see what people's reaction are to it first before I would say, yeah, I'm gonna buy it. So
yeah, you might as well just wait until the servers are stable at the very least.
Yeah, exactly. Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu or Let's Go Eevee, buy it or leave it. This is for the Switch, by the way.
Yep. I enjoy Pokemon, but I'm waiting for the next RPG, so I can leave this one.
I'm gonna buy it because my daughter and I played
Pokemon Go.
Pokemon Go, yeah, thank you. And she really got a kick out of it, and the ability to play 2 players in this game and be able to battle together instead against each other. I think she's gonna get such a kick out of that, so I'm gonna buy it just for that.
That's awesome.
Just for the experience with my daughter, yeah. So that'd be fun. The next one, Darksiders 3 for PS4, Xbox One, or PC. Buy it or leave it.
Yeah, this is a fascinating one. Like a sequel is like way far removed and not made by the same company, kind of.
Yeah.
I played the first one and I enjoyed it a lot, and I got a couple hours into the second one and I was kind of enjoying it. I'll probably go through it again once Darksiders 3 gets closer, but I'd say leave this one until it goes on sale, probably.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I really enjoyed the first and second one. I got them off of a humble bundle pack. I think I got like a bunch of games, and those were part of the games that were part of that group for like $12 or something like that. I was really impressed with the voice acting, actually. Mark Hamill actually lended his voice to one of the characters. So, yeah, I think I'm in the same boat. I'm going to say leave it at this point. Wait for it to go on sale and pick it up when it goes on sale.
Yep.
Just Cause 4 for PS4, Xbox One, or PC.
I've played the first 3. The first one's okay. I love the second one. And the third one is pretty good. I didn't like it as much as 2. But I still 100%ed the third one. So, it was pretty good. I think the fourth one is kind of more in the vein of the third one, it looks like.
Yeah.
So I'd say probably leave this one. It's probably not going to live up to the high expectations put in place by 2.
Yeah, I agree. I think I don't know. I'm surprised that they're coming out with a 4th one.
Yeah, it's strange.
3. Yeah, I mean, I heard good things about 3. I have 3. I haven't really played much of 3. I played 2. I enjoyed it. The people that liked 3 said that they liked the mechanics behind the game, that grappling hook thing that you have. But I'm going to leave this one until it goes on sale. I did the same thing with 3. I waited for that to go like really on sale before I got it. So, and still I haven't played it. So
maybe someday.
Maybe someday. Super Smash Brothers Ultimate for Switch.
I am absolutely buying this one. I see like pretty much no reason why I shouldn't.
Yeah, I'm going to buy it too. I'm not good at Super Smash Brothers at all.
Yeah, neither am I.
But it is fun. I do enjoy the game, so I'm gonna get it as well. Dreams for PS4.
Oh, this one's hard, but everything that I'm hearing about it is very positive, so I feel like I'm gonna get it.
Yeah, me too. I mean, I think the ability to create a world with so minute like detail sounds really cool, right?
Yeah.
But I don't know. I'm a little worried that maybe I'm wrong, but I'm a little worried that the mechanics are going to be a pretty big learning curve.
Yeah.
I could be wrong. I could be completely wrong, but I like the idea of creating worlds. I like that. I like creating things. So I think I'm gonna wait for this one to come out and listen to other people's reviews, and then I'll pick it up. But certainly something that piques my interest. And then I'm just go to the last game here. Bloodstained: Ritual of the Night for PS4, Xbox One, Switch, PS Vita, and PC.
Yeah. So far, this is looking like a Kickstarter project that hasn't gotten botched, so I'd say definitely get it.
Have you played Curse of the Moon?
No, I haven't, but I've heard good things about that as well.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, that game is probably my favorite Castlevania game that's not a Castlevania game.
Nice.
That game was so well done. It's like everything that I wanted Castlevania 3 to be.
Mm-hmm.
And I enjoyed Castlevania 3, but man, this game, I mean, it just knocked it out of the park. And that was like the stretch goal when they were going to come up with that game. So they did such a great job with that I trust them in the new game that they were really focusing on. So I'm gonna say buy it. I enjoy. I'm a huge Castlevania fan. So I'm gonna say buy it.
Awesome.
I know it's not Castlevania, listeners. So don't write us and say this is not a Castlevania game. I know that. But in the vein of Castlevania, I guess that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So, all right. So listeners, let us know what you think. Let us know what games you are interested in getting that are still coming out this year. You can let us know by tweeting to us at GamerHeadsPC. You can also email us at GamerHeadsPodcast@gmail.com, or you can reach us on Facebook at facebook.com/GamerHeadsPodcast. We're going to take a break right here, and when we return, we are going to be interviewing Jean Leggett, the CEO from OneMoreStoryGames. So stay tuned for that. This is a really great interview. We get into some really good discussions and in-depth about game development and starting a software company and just about games themselves and the content of games. So you're going to love it. So stay tuned.
Hi, this is Michelle Madison from the Video Game Outsiders podcast. We've been churning out stupidity and gaming since 2004, and we would love for you to check us out. So visit videogameoutsiders.com for more information or find us anywhere podcasts are available.
Hello, this is Meg Stuyvesant from Small Monsters Games. Our newest card game is Takeout, a social set-building game for 2 to 4 players. In Takeout, players are backpackers traveling in China and trying to order delicious Chinese food. Unfortunately, none of you speak Chinese. The object of the game is to get one dish of each flavor, sweet, sour, salty, spicy, and bitter, and a cold drink into your meal, before any of your friends do. To win, use your superior chopstick skills to steal tasty food from someone else's plate, or use a Mandarin English phrasebook to attack your friends. This game was inspired by my years living and working in China. Takeout was a tabletop showcase selection at last year's Boston Festival of Indie Games. You can check out our website, smallmonstersgames.com, or follow us on Twitter at @small_monsters for more. Thank you.
Have you ever been reading through a stack of comics and thought, hey, maybe I should see what this Arkham Asylum game is all about? Or been playing Marvel vs. Capcom and felt like you were at a real disadvantage because you didn't know who half the characters were? Well, Play Comics is the show for you. I'm Chris, and each episode, I take a look at video games based on comic book properties and how well they stick to that source material. So, whether you know the comics and want to actually learn how these games work, or know the games and want to know what the hell is going on, go check out Play Comics at playcomics.com, the Brain Trust Bros Network, or wherever you find your favorite podcasts.
Hey, it's Carrington from Real Dudes Podcast, and with me I have some fantastic co-hosts. Guys, why don't you introduce yourselves?
This is Andrew, coming to you from Lynchburg, Ohio.
This is Cody, coming from you also from Ohio.
And this is Kyle, coming to you straight from the armpits of West Virginia. We are an indie gaming podcast. We all share a love for games, and you can check out our show on Podbean. Just search for Real Dudes Podcast. You can also find us on iTunes, Google Play, really any of the podcasting outlets that you like to use. Again, that is Real Dudes Podcast. Be sure to check us out on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. If you love video games, you will love our show.
What's up, everybody? I'm Tyler.
I'm Lucas. And I'm Chris.
And we're better than Static. We meet up once a week and talk about movies, comics, and video games.
I don't want to talk about that.
What? Why are you complaining about all the topics I bring up? I'm trying to sound professional, Chris.
But we're not that good.
We are too good.
We may not be great, but we are better than Static.
You guys can hit up iTunes, Podbean, Google Play, and YouTube to check us out.
Remember that feeling of playing an ultra-hard video game and dying? Over and over and over? Ah! Yeah, so do we. Listen to the Controller Throwers podcast on iTunes and Google Play. And check out the live show every Tuesday night at 8 p.m. Central Standard Time at twitch.tv/TCThrowers. The Controller Throwers, pressing start since 1985.
Do you like video games? Do you like to read? Alright, guys, I know that those two things usually don't go so well together, but my new book, The Minds Behind the Games, interviews with cult and classic video game developers, is kind of like an ESPN 30 for 30 collection of interviews with some of the coolest creators in video game history. We're talking iconic games, Deus Ex, Mortal Kombat, Wasteland, NBA Jam, not so iconic, E.T., Night Trap, indie games, Pro Wrestling X, Towerfall. If you love video games, you will love my book. If you know nothing about video games and want to get in the know, read my book. It's available wherever fine books are sold: Amazon, Barnes & Noble, Target, Walmart, and of course my site, patrickhickeyjr.com. It's an awesome book. I had a ton of fun writing it, and simply put, if you want to get in the know and you want to find out stuff that's not even on Wikipedia, check it out. You won't regret it.
And welcome back to GamerHeads. And this week we have a very special guest from Canada, all the way from Canada, although through Skype. We have Jean Leggett, from the CEO from OneMoreStoryGames. Welcome, Jean.
Thanks for having me on the show. Super excited.
Thanks for being on the show. I'm a little nervous because I'm super excited to have you on the show. So if I talk a little fast right now, it's because of that. But we have a list of questions that we'd like to ask you, and I'd like to hear your opinion on these. So we'll just go in.
I just want to say, that's the second time it's been mentioned recently on podcasts where people are nervous to talk to me. I don't know what that is.
Well, I think it's just a real pleasure to have you on the show. So it's exciting.
Thank you.
So one thing that I found out about you, you're a stand-up comic and a CEO of a software company. What made you pursue stand-up comedy, and how did you transition from stand-up comedy to CEO of a company?
You know what? So the stand-up comedy thing, that must have been 2005, and life has a way of getting me to make decisions pretty quickly. And I was always that person that made people laugh. I wasn't necessarily the class clown, but I had that sharp wit. And as I got older and into university, I don't know, I had this knack for entertaining people, even when I had a blog spot, or what was it, Zanga, my old Zanga. I was one of the comedy writers on there, and people were flocking to my sense of humor. And so somebody said, well, why don't you do stand-up comedy? And I thought, So I'm looking through the college catalog. I like to continue to do stuff outside of work, or at least I did when I didn't have a startup, because there's no life outside of a startup. And literally, I think the deadline to apply for the stand-up comedy class was 2 weeks. And I was like, okay, that's a sign. I will interpret that as a divine sign that I should take the stand-up comedy class. So I started taking stand-up classes, and at the end of the 8 weeks, you get up on stage, you have your 12 minutes of material, and you go for it. And there's just such an incredible high from being able to make people laugh, because it is a craft and it's an art. Yeah. And Blair's helped me. Blair, my husband, also my co-founder, which we can dive into later. Blair has helped me craft and be the sounding board for my joke. So for the older folk, it's like Gracie and George, George Burns and his wife Gracie. She was very funny in her own right, but he did add to the experience. So yeah, I was doing that for a while. I had a regular job just like everybody else does. Blair was the one that had the tech job in games. He worked for EA. And in the great culling of 2009, when they decimated their worldwide studios by 30%, I was the breadwinner. Then he got a job at Zynga. I was going to say Zynga again. He got a job at Zynga, and yeah, it was, okay, well, I guess I'll just do comedy for myself. Then he had a near-death experience. We moved back to his hometown of 20 years. We didn't know anybody. And I thought, okay, you do the thing that you love. So I'm also a professional speaker. Mm-hmm. The only reason I mention that is because I think that everybody should have the opportunity to do what they love, even if they have to do it as a side hustle. But do what you love. And we were willing to live in poverty to do what we each loved. For me, that was public speaking, teaching laughter yoga, and doing stand-up comedy. And for Blair, it was designing Story Stylus, our game engine. Mm. And about 6 months in, it made sense for me to come and hustle for him. So that's how I ended up working with him, and we founded the company. We've been at this he's been at this for 5 years. I've been at this for 4.5-ish, more than 4.5. We've raised $500,000 Canadian, wow. And we've employed a lot of co-op students in the area. So it's like, I never thought having the stand-up comedy background would help me, but it does. You have to have a sense of humor to be an indie dev.
Yeah,
that's good.
And some, when I heard your story about, moving when your husband had his near-death experience, and then you said, hey, you know what, let's do something that we want to do, right? Let's do something we love. That itself must have been really scary too, right? I mean...
It was. I mean, we'd gone from Vancouver, which is where we had lived for 15, 20 years. Then we went to San Francisco, make new friends. Hey, we're likable people. That's okay. And then we moved to the Zynga studio in Dallas. And we didn't know that the doctors were slowly poisoning him. Mm-hmm. And that he was literally, if he had not walked off the job, he probably would have been dead in 2 to 3 weeks from a heart attack or a stroke. So walking off the job saved his life because we were able to figure out something was wrong. And, it's at the end of the day, you've got to look for the silver linings. You can still have your pity parties, but you need to find what it is that there is to learn and to grow from it. And this company would not exist, I don't think, if it weren't for that experience, for example, we were only willing to take on so much risk because we didn't have any money. So it's like, what's $15,000 in equipment? That's not a lot of money. We've paid off student loans. That's chump change, right? And then about 3 months in, somebody came along and said, hey, this is interesting. My dad just passed away. I have some money. Can I invest in you guys? And, we've never run out of money. We've come close. There have been months where they've been very, very lean, but it's the faith, it's the desire and the hustle that has kept us going.
Oh, wow. That's really inspiring.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Well, speaking of your company, One More Story Games, what do you think it was that made you want to create the company? Because it couldn't have been something that was just an easy undertaking. And what was your mission that you wanted to pursue in creating the company?
Well, I think, and this is sort of where I defer to Blair's original vision, is having come from Electronic Arts and Zynga for the 10 years combined, and seeing how these companies were making hand over fist with repetitive and iterative games. So it's like, great, we're going to have FIFA 2020, 80, FIFA 3005, okay, I think we get the point that it's a hockey game or a soccer game, pardon me. And then with Zynga, watching them rake in ridiculous amounts of money, but there's no story. And we know so many talented storytellers Blair's really big into Cthulhu. So he used to be a GM for a weekly podcast called, I think it was the Lovecraft Scene. They're really great people over there. And so he knows all these really great storytellers, but they don't necessarily have a venue or a vehicle to be able to take their great ideas and create interactive stories with them. So it's can I make a tool that's easy enough to be able to let somebody with no technical skills can I help them create an interactive game?
Yeah.
And so that really was the driving mission at first. And I think the other thing is we're both very passionate about making sure that we change who gets to tell the story in games. Now, I can only see you, Robert, and I don't know about you, Christian, but the games industry is lacking from serious diversity.
Mm-hmm.
And we need to have more women telling stories. We need to have people from different cultural backgrounds telling stories. And you can do that when you give them tools. There are already great basic tools out there, but we want to just take that up a notch.
Yep.
So that's our driving mission, is to democratize interactive storytelling.
That's awesome. No, I 100% agree with that the game industry would only be stronger if we had more diversity in it.
Yeah. Well, and I had this really strange viral tweet a couple of weeks ago, and it must have gone out to about 150,000 people. It kind of blew my mind, to be honest. It was, and at the end of my thread, because it was somebody who had said women should not be CEOs of games companies. I was like, I'll tell you my opinion on that. And at the very end, I said, by bringing more women creators into the game space, we're not taking away from the male creators. We're just making the game space bigger.
Yeah.
There'll be more choices.
Yes.
Like, what is wrong with Baskin Robbins has 31 flavors? What's wrong with 100 flavors? There's nothing wrong with 100 flavors.
Right.
So it's just more for everybody.
Yeah. We had an episode a couple weeks ago about just the toxicity between game developers and the game community. And one thing we talked about was how, a lot of, I shouldn't say all men, because that's just not fair, but there's a small portion of men that are very angry, I guess, if you will, that feel like their game industry is being taken away from them. And it's a weird thought to me.
Well, if you would like my thoughts on that.
Yeah.
Over the last 4 years, as we've done focus test groups and play testing, I have found that women are very hesitant to identify with the label gamer. So I often say I'm a fake gamer girl, because right now I spend anywhere from 8 to 12 to 14 hours on my PC. I don't want to be looking at a screen at the end of the day. I play games on my mobile phone, and I even hate the games that I play on my mobile phone. It's just I don't always have the brain to read at the end of the day, right? So I have disdain for the games that I am playing on my mobile phone. But it's not like I'm walking around going, I'm a gamer. It's like, I play games, I enjoy games. And that's like, I am so much more than just a thing. And I don't know where that comes from, that obsession to be like, gamer is my only identity. I feel like I would get hate mail for saying this, but go outside and make some friends. And maybe I'm the last generation. I'm 41. I know I look great for my age. I'm 41. We went outside. We played outside. We had consoles when I was a kid, but the console wasn't your life. Right?
Yeah.
It's become this. I know they're trying to say that it's not addictive, but I think there's a lot of loneliness and isolation. My husband just got threatened last week on Dead by Daylight. And the guy said, I have your IP. It's like, you just have to look up our names and you can find out where our office is.
Yeah.
Really? And his name was on his Steam handle. It's not anymore. And it's like, okay, now I've got to call the police to come in. And I'm like, please don't SWAT us or anything like that, because there are idiots on the internet. It's bonkers.
Yeah.
It's cuckoo banana puffs.
Yeah.
That's what it is.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. It is different. It's a different world.
This is why women prefer story-based games, playing by themselves and not identifying as gamers, because they don't want any of this BS.
Yeah.
Yeah. Not all women.
Yeah. No, that's interesting. And I'm your age as well. So I know where you're coming from the background perspective. And yeah, it's weird. It's how different gaming has become. And I think not to go too much off topic, but I think that's where like retro gaming has become more popular because of the fact that you don't have to deal with the BS, like you said. So,
well, the average age of a gamer is 35. The average age of a female gamer is 44, so I'm below average. And the fastest growing contingent of gamers coming in are women over 50.
Yeah.
So the industry has to change. The content has to change. You know, I keep seeing these ads for this game on my freemium game, and it's driving me crazy. And I know why they think they're targeting me. I'm like, I will never in a million years play your quote unquote narrative game with vampires. It's not going to happen.
Yeah.
Give me quality, please.
Yes. So kind of tied with that then, what got you into gaming and what are some of your favorite games?
Oh my gosh. So I gave a talk last year, a keynote at a games conference. And so to do the retrospective, the last 40 years of games, I tied it to increments of 10 years. So like when I was 8, I remember that would have been 1985. I think that was around the time that Mario came out. I know that we had an NES and we played, of course, Mario and Duck Hunt, and I was really good at Contra with my sister.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was
it was the only time we ever got along. Like we were like otherwise. But on Contra, we were unstoppable. And I discovered Tetris. And I will tell you that if I could split off into a parallel universe, I probably would have been a professional Tetris player. And I've always believed it's because my first language is sign language. So my mom, my dad, and my sister, they're all deaf. And sign language is the language that we used in our house. And my brain is very adaptive for spatial stuff. So I could play Tetris in my sleep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
So I like puzzle games. When I met Blair, we really got into playing adventure games together. You know, I like turn-based games. I don't like real-time games. I don't want games is supposed to be an escape for me, not additional stress.
Yes.
Right. So we got into like Tex Murphy and Gabriel Knight. And in fact, we were just replaying the 20th anniversary Gabriel Knight remastering.
Oh.
So that's been kind of cool. Yeah. The highlight, I would say, for me in the last 4 years is we actually got to Skype with Chris Jones from Tex Murphy for like half an hour, 45 minutes.
Wow.
And talk to him. I know, right? Yeah.
That's awesome.
He's a really, really great guy. Did that answer your question?
Yeah, absolutely. It's interesting because I think that you mentioned Gabriel Knight, for instance, and that was a very story-based game as well. I played I think it was Werewolf Within. I think that was the name of the game.
The Beast Within.
The Beast Within. Thank you. That was a great game, and we just don't have those types of games anymore.
Well, no, because they're expensive to make, right? I looked at the team that they did on the remastering. It's a significant team. We have 4 people. We have 4 people doing narrative programming, art, marketing, PR, investor relations, admin. Everything that you could possibly think of is being done by 4 people. And that's the essence of the indie space, right?
Yeah.
But my experience has been that the indie games consumer is still confused when they look at an indie game that was like a $5 million budget.
Yeah.
You know, we might be cracking 70 US.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
77,000 US, and you're going to like compare us to a $5 million US game?
Yeah.
Really don't think that's fair.
Yeah.
So even within the indie space, that there needs to be a greater division of the spectrum. Right? We aspire to be a AAA indie. That's what we would like to be.
Sure.
And to make that strong story-based content. Ours, I don't know if you've had a chance to play one of our games yet.
I have.
Really?
Yep. I played sorry, I can't remember the Lullaby one.
Hard Vacuum. Well, no, it's okay. Nobody gets the name. Nobody gets it. one person in 3 years has gotten the name of that game. I was like, oh wow.
Yeah, I loved it. It was great. I loved the story, and I loved the fact that, it reminds me of the old like venture, where you can choose your own adventures, right?
That's exactly what everybody says about that. Yeah.
But he had the background sounds and the music. It was just everything worked really well together. And I got ending number 8, which I'm assuming is the best ending. So.
Ooh, and did you make it with all of your limbs intact?
I did, so that must be the best ending. Right?
That is the best ending. We had our testers play through that game, and we're all in our 20s. Well, they were in their 20s. We're a little bit older, and the one guy goes, "Okay, I'm an adult male. The sound of the bones crunching was really horrific."
Oh man.
So yeah, it's a really cool little story. I mean, for listeners, it's a half-hour space adventure. It features an all-female cast. Every single one of our games has a female protagonist, which is kind of exciting to me. Yeah. And the idea is that it's reading. It's fairly reading heavy, and you cannot progress through our games without actually doing the reading. So. Yeah. I think it's actually more narrative driven than most visual novels. Mm-hmm. And so when I go out to describe it to people, I just say it's book meets game, which is why when you go to bookmeetsgame.com, you end up at our website, because that seems to be a logical way to explain what we're trying to make.
That was a good plug. Sure. I like that.
Well, I have been doing this for a while, fellas.
Yeah.
I also played the one that was the Killer Zombie Cats.
Yes, that was done by an 11-year-old girl.
Yeah, that's amazing. I will say one thing. Being an American, I was highly offended that Trumpy Cat wasn't fatter, and wasn't more orange, didn't have bigger hair.
Well, she's just learning Photoshop, Okay. Give her. I think she did a great job with Hillary Cat. That was a great drawing.
Yeah.
And the whole reason why Trumpy or Attack of the Killer Zombie Cats is on our website is we have two sides to our platform, right? So OneMoreStoryGames is considered a games publisher. We happen to make story stylists. And so my idea, or our idea, is to make it easy for authors of all ages to use the game engine to publish their games. And we did these summer camps, which you can find out about my TED Talk. And so, yeah, Kira was 11 years old when she came up with that. It took her about 18 hours to draw, write, and code that game. Yeah. And we left it on our website because I want to show adults, listen, if a child can do this in 18 hours, then you can do it too. And that includes her learning the software. So it's, yeah, and you get to push Trumpy Cat into Dark Cat Void, which is very satisfying. She is supposed to be working on a sequel called Dorothy Cat in Space.
Oh,
wow.
Yes, Trumpy Cat in Space, where he meets Dorothy Cat, his father.
Oh, that sounds interesting. Yeah. No, it was cute, and I was in shock about, man, 11-year-old made this. This is amazing.
Yeah,
it was really cool.
It is cool. We didn't set out to do the summer camps. That was kind of a joke. Like in 2014, in the summer, I was like, let's rent the office space across the hall. Next summer, we're going to have parents pay us to take their children for a week, and they'll be testing our software. And Blair's like, nah. I'm like, you just wait. And sure enough, we were like, reached out to our friends. Hey, do you have kids between the ages of 12 and 16? That's a pretty good age. They're mostly emotionally stable at that point, although they're hormonal. And they came in and they, beat away at our software. They found lots of bugs the first week. We just kept rolling, fixing, rolling, patching, rolling, fixing. Mm-hmm. And as exhausting as it is for two people who don't have children to have children in their care for a full week, it's also exhilarating because they come up with these ideas that, well, adults just don't. Yeah. They see the world from a completely different vantage point from being 4'8", I guess.
Yeah, right. in your TED Talks too, you mentioned how I think was it by the age of 12, I think it was, that we only use certain percentage of our creative brain, right?
Yeah.
I thought that was really interesting.
And I tried to find scientific research, something that would prove or disprove that. Like, it's just a theory that's out there, but it keeps to be repeated a lot. Yeah. The idea that when you're 5, you're using 80% of your creativity, and then by the time you're 12, it's down to, I think it's 5% or 2%.
Yeah.
It's as though the box of creativity just gets shrunk and shrunk and shrunk. Mm-hmm. And all of a sudden, you're not given that space and opportunity to think what's possible.
Sure.
And I think that's, yes, Story Stylus is a really cool piece of software. And educators who've come in, they'll be like, you did what now with like these kids, and how long did it take? They're kind of blown away by that. But I think the other piece of the magic is who we are as accidental educators, is that we say, what would you like to create? Anything is possible.
Yeah.
And for a kid that's in a classroom with 30 other students, you don't get that kind of freedom.
Yeah.
And here they are, they get, there's maybe 3 students to an instructor, and we sit down and we're like, all right, let's make games.
Yeah.
Man, wouldn't you have loved that as a kid?
Oh my gosh, yes, absolutely. And I heard somewhere that, empathy, you can't show empathy unless you're creative, right? Because you can't understand somebody else's perspectives if you're not creative. So, I mean, in that sense, if we lose our creativity, and and I know you mentioned this too, it should be STEAM and not STEM, right? Should the A of the arts, right? So if we start losing that aspect of our creativity in the arts, we start losing the empathy for other people. So
and arts is always the first thing that gets cut when we have austerity measures. It's like, cut the artists. I don't like the message that they're projecting with their art. Well, art is meant to evoke emotion. It's not always an emotion that we agree with. I am a white female presenting as all sorts of assumptions that people want to make about me. So sometimes art makes me feel uncomfortable, but I don't know what it's like to be in a Black person's shoes, or an Indigenous person's shoes, or somebody that, I grew up in poverty. I guess you could call it that. We called it mother's allowance back in the day. It was a nicer form of welfare. And, so it's like, we need to have diverse content in games if it's going to grow as a medium, right? It is, as a medium, still very new. We've had film that's been around for more than 100 years. We have beautiful indie films. We have indie shorts, and we have stuff that will take you into the shoes of other people's lives and experiences. And so that's why when mainstream people look at games, they go, ugh, they make that sound, ugh. The number of times that I've heard that when I'm like, I make games, and I'm like, no, I make smart games for smart women. And they're like, oh, and they want to know more.
Sure.
Because they don't see it as an evolved medium, and especially with all of the garbage behavior that's attached to it, people are not taking it seriously. They don't understand that this is a vehicle for expression in art. Yeah. So that's my soapbox. Like, you'll totally light me up for an hour on that whole topic.
Well, I really like how you contribute to that by having these diverse and different personalities write the games that you guys create.
Well, and I want to see more and more diverse. The challenge of having built a game engine at the same time that we're building content is we can't onboard as many people as we would like all at the same time. I would love to have a huge cadre of writers working with us right now. We have a specific project that we're working on. We'll talk about that in a few minutes. And it has taken up all of our time and focus, but it is very important to both Blair and myself. I often say that One More Story Games is designed as a feminist games company. And I don't care if that gets us hate mail, because they don't understand what that means.
Right.
Yeah.
But this idea that everybody is equal. And, one thing I'll just share about working with the kids is this is where the danger of STEM versus STEAM and all of these really great and worthy programs for girls learning code. I received a Girls Make Games scholarship to go to GDC this year. It was really amazing. And Layla's doing amazing work. I want to make sure that the language that we are presenting to children is, this is all awesome. You are all awesome, because I will always see an 8-year-old boy. It's not his fault that the world is structured this way to oppress women or to treat women as less than. It is not his fault. So the girls are awesome. It's like girls and boys are awesome. And it's even awesomer when you respect each other. Like, that's what we need to be cultivating. Because I caught myself in a classroom when we did a pilot program saying, girls are awesome. And I saw the look on a 10-year-old boy's face just drop. And I realized that is a shitty thing to do too. So we all need to really be careful about the language, and equality starts with mindful equality and inclusion.
Yeah.
Soapbox.
So what were some of the biggest hurdles that you had overcoming while establishing a startup?
Oh, gosh, all of those cliches that you've ever heard in your life are so true. So true. Like, the more I think about them, they're so true. Like, what is it? Hire slowly, fire quickly. Right? We have hired some not great talent. Some I can't even talk about right now. It'll come out in the memoir, like I am planning on writing, and I'm also giving a series of talks this fall called our 5-year indie startup story. Awesome. Yeah, we've had some really great people work with us. The challenge of being a startup and when you're self-funded is people get really excited. They'll literally come like, oh my God, this is so amazing. What can I do to help? Like, well, we have a budget for my team right now, and I don't have a budget for you. It's like, oh, that's great. I'll let me help you in some other way. And then they'll ghost you. You know, people ghost on commitments, and even well-meaning people who want to invest in your company will ghost you. Our very first game, we had, so I was doing mostly like admin work, and Blair was doing the engine, and we had hired somebody to work with an author at the very beginning. She was working very closely with the author, and we just assumed she knew what we meant by narrative game. And when we went to launch that game, it was buggy and it was awful. But I wouldn't have known that because I had 4 of our team play test it, and they're like, it's all good to go. And so we launched it, and it was awful. Like, I think back to that time, if we'd ever had major news press at that time, we would have been destroyed. I think that would have been the end of our company. People are like, you suck. Don't ever make a game again. You don't know what you're doing. And so we pulled it down, and I couldn't believe the sloppy job our QA had done, because, you know, they were all new to this. And so it was a real humbling learning experience. No game currently goes out without my express approval, because I am looking for the details that matter, right? If you are one of 200 games that is launching that week, and everybody else has issues or sloppiness to it, your attention to detail will stand out. It says a lot about you as developers. It says a lot about its professionalism, right? It's professionalism, and finding other people who have that same attention to detail is definitely a hurdle. What else? I think the marketing piece is really challenging. I would love for you to try out Danielle's Inferno, which is the most recent game that we had put out. Now, I'm very proud of that game. So my stand-up comedy got to play with that game. It's a dark comedy set on the 9 circles of hell. You have a bitchy Siamese cat named Pudding. That is your guide, right? And to advance between the levels of hell, you have to go into like porta potties or dive into kitty litter. It's raunchy, it's funny, it's full of pop culture references. You were the same age. You were going to get the references, my friend.
All right.
Yeah, there's Will Wheaton jokes in there, Stephen King jokes, Monty Python jokes. It's fun. It's fun, and the people who play tested it and who have streamed it all the way to the end have wept. Sobbed in tears, saying, and I watched the comments from her stream audience saying, this is the best narrative game I've ever seen you play.
Wow.
And to me, I'm like, man, where's our audience?
Yeah,
Right?
yeah.
It's a really great game. It really is. And I hope that, when Charlaine Harris's game comes out, that we're working on right now, that people will come back and they'll discover Danielle's Inferno and they'll go, we missed this.
Yeah.
We missed this. People need to go and play this really brilliant game. By the way, we priced it at $666.
That's good.
Nice.
It's the nuances. It's the little details that matter.
Yeah. Danielle's Inferno is actually the one that I played. I picked it up for a little bit because Dante's Inferno is something that I have a lot of interest in and that I find fascinating. And the dark comedy that's in it was really tickling my funny bone. I really appreciated that.
I'm assuming you got into Limbo then?
Yes, I did.
Yes,
it's so wonderful. Yes. It's so creative. I just love that afterlife Dante's Inferno aesthetic. It's great.
Well, and what's really interesting is that was a novelette that was made by a friend of ours. So it was maybe like a half-hour read, and I read it, and I thought, oh, let's make a short adventure game. Short being the imperative right there, short. Let's make a short adventure game. We went from a half-hour novelette to a 3-hour game. And it just so happens that the author of the original story is also an illustrator. She worked for Zynga. That's how we met her. She did all of the art.
Wow.
Yeah. It's awesome. Wait till you hit Lust. Lust is a lot of fun, and I do love, we've never really put a lot of heavy thought into music before, and Danielle's Inferno was so much fun because Lust has that 1970s bound. Wow, that's in the background. Gluttony sounds like Drunk Oktoberfest. Every level of hell is perfectly themed. Limbo sounds like you're stuck in an elevator.
That's great.
You can tell we have a lot of fun in designing it.
Yeah.
Nice.
Well, speaking of One More Story Games, what would you say is your ultimate goal with the company as an entrepreneurship, and what kind of do you want to see One More Story Games grow into in the future?
Well, I have said this before, and I feel like it's a ballsy thing to say, but I would like us to become the premier destination for narrative games. I know there are a lot of other great platforms that are, you've got Steam. We're not going to compete against Steam, but what I would like is that people think of us when they think of story games, and they'll be like, hey, I trust the quality and content that's at this website. And that's the bigger goal. Because of the work that we've done with kids, we are now building in this additional vertical, which we'd never expected, which is EdTech, right? We didn't build story stylists for the classroom. If we did, we probably would have taken some different approaches along the way. Yeah. So we're doing games, we're doing EdTech, and then we have, this vision where if you want to do licensed fanfic games as a major IP holder, then let us have your art assets and let us make it possible for your fans to create in your world. We've had some really interesting conversations with some interesting people about doing that very thing. Imagine, I won't even go there. But and I would love for people with English degrees who are underpaid and undervalued at Starbucks. I love Starbucks, don't get me wrong, but I have an English degree, and I think it's only because of my computer skills that I got to where I was in my career. But for all of those English degree students who love reading and who love narrative, to be able to pair up with an author that already has a book and help them turn that into an interactive story. So, there's so much that we want to do, and, AR and,
Awesome.
Nice.
It's exciting. We've got big vision.
Yeah.
Nice. So speaking of story stylists, then, so the games that you're featured on One More Story Games are built on the engine that you and your husband created. Can you tell us a little bit more about how the engine works?
Yeah, sure. For the super technically nerdy inclined, we built the engine 4 years ago to build what's called an MVP, a minimal viable product. minimum viable product so that you can show potential investors, hey, we need more money to build something better. So we built our MVP on Silverlight is the back end of that, which has had its own challenges, which is why we're looking to upgrade it next year. And the idea is that we've taken the basic building blocks of story, people, places, conversations, items, and things like that. And we've built those into our story nouns of story stylists, right? You log in, you're like, oh, I'm adding a person and I'm adding a conversation between the player and the NPC. And the scripting language that ties everything together is Lua script, but Blair's developed it in such a way that, you know, you just start typing in the beginnings of your puzzle pieces and it will all sort of snap into place. Again, if we can teach 8, 10, 12-year-olds how to do this, we've watched people just watch YouTube videos and make simple games just from YouTube videos. So that is, we're always looking to improve it. But again, when you're building content, it takes away from building on the engine. And, but yeah, that's the goal, is to make the WordPress or the Microsoft Word of narrative-based games that will still give you a visual experience. You know, often people say, it was like, oh, is it interactive fiction? Like you type in get book. Like, nope, we're not building parsers. These are visual point and click adventure games. Ours, the ones that we publish, just happen to be fairly narrative heavy.
Sure.
Yeah. But you can do some pretty complex things in there. Like there was a 13-year-old girl who made a game called The Lime Merchant. And the idea is that you go to a location, you pick a bunch of limes, it gets added to your inventory. You go to your little store, you have conversations with people. And if you're nice to them, your rapport goes up, plus they'll buy your limes and you can upgrade to an even better store. She was in our camp for 2 weeks, and by the second week, she was like, I want to add in voiceovers for all of the other students. So, like, it is so cool. It is so cool to see what these kids get up to.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, speaking of that then, so it sounds like you use the summer camps, right, to test the engine, correct?
Well, yes, because their feedback is better than any adults is ever going to give us. They're honest. They don't care about hurting your feelings. Feelings. Adults don't have feelings.
What enticed you to work with kids and do the summer camp then?
Well, like I said, it was a LARF in the beginning, and we were just like, just 1 week. We just want to do it for 1 week. And next thing you know, we had people going, oh, are you guys going to do more? I'm like, So that first summer we did week on, week off, week on, week off. Like we spaced it out. We did 4 over the course of that summer. And I was like, okay, we're never doing that again. That was good. Never doing that again. And then March of the following year, getting pinged. Are you guys doing camps again? I'm like, never. And somebody said, well, why aren't you doing camps? I'm like, well, we just don't have the space. By then we'd left our larger studio for cost saving measures. We started working from home. And somebody's like, I'll give you space for 2 months. I'm like, damn it. So they gave us space, and I was like, okay, fine. And we still had all of our equipment. We had a 15-person studio at one point, training the local college students and stuff. So it's like, okay, so we set up, and we did again, week on, week off, week on, week off. And it was, I think I found it less exhausting the second time round because we'd done it before, and I was more involved in the second time round. The first time round, it was mostly the guys that were working with the kids. And then through social media and network building, somebody, a friend of mine who works at Microsoft in Vancouver, the Gears of War people, she had said, hey, you know what, we have this initiative for women in games, and we'd love to take that budget and have you come and teach our kids. Wow. So we actually went to Vancouver and we taught their kids. That's what I talk about in the TED Talk, and how these 8-year-olds wanted to do gory games with bloody dolls, and this whole idea that little girls aren't always into princesses. They like dragons. They like bloody dolls. Who knew? And I think also, sorry.
No, go ahead.
I'll just say one thing. like I've been doing public speaking since I started doing stand-up comedy. So we're at 13 years now. And I think because we're such an anomaly in the games industry, like you're either just making a game or you're just making an engine or you're just teaching kids. It's like, or you're making narrative games. Like you're not going to be doing all of those crazy things in one package. And I think that's why people have invited us to come and speak. Like I'll be speaking in Austin, Houston, and in Melbourne later this year. It's piqued people's interest about who the heck are we and why are we doing such wild and crazy things in the game space.
Yeah. I will say when you got to that part where you showed the dolls, I laughed really hard. Because I can imagine, the parents like, what?
You'll need to check out the TED Talk, listeners.
Yeah. Speaking of that TED Talk, what 10-year-olds taught us about our tech startup? What were some of the other things that you learned from those 10-year-olds that weren't necessarily in that TED Talk?
I think as adults, we were talking about that shift from creativity into, I think we shift from creativity into pragmatism. Mm-hmm. You become like these little functioning adults, right? At some point in your early teens, you turn into a mini adult and you have many responsibilities, and you could still see them rebelling against it. That is the teenage years. Mm-hmm. As an adult and as a business owner, I'm just very much like, okay, ... Your parents sent you here to make a game, and you will make a game. And that's what I had in my brain. And I thought, if they don't make a game by the end of the week, I am a failure. I have failed. I have failed this child. I have failed their parent. And what I learned in that second year was that from even just talking with these kids, like some of them were repeats, like they came back the second year. This one boy had come back for the second year in a row. His grandma drove 7 hours to go get him, 7 hours to come back for him to come to our camp. And he did it 2 years in a row. Jeez. And good kid, right? But he's like, I feel a little bit lonely. Like I don't have a lot of friends in my school. Mm-hmm. And we were not designing the program so that they had a lot of play and chat time together. Like we had lunch breaks and there was, I guess we'll call them juice breaks because they're certainly not coffee breaks for teenagers. But this idea that we were doing morning and afternoon breaks, and I saw them taking the time to actually get to know each other. And I think we must have been on the third camp that summer, and the kids were like, we'd like to have more of that. And it made me wonder if, yes, it's great that we're doing all of these coding and robotics classes in maker spaces. And this seems to be the push of where, forget piano lessons, right? Mm-hmm. Like this has become the new push to get your kids ahead in tech. And we need to make sure that the people that are running these programs have an understanding that there needs to be play involved, myself included. Like we had to learn that from the kids. And we should never lose our sense of play, even as we become adults.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Wow, that's really powerful.
Yeah.
I'm like, get this game done. I'm like, you know what? If little Jimmy doesn't have his game done, that's okay. It's totally up to little Jimmy. And if he wants to make friends, that's okay too. It doesn't make him a failure, and it doesn't make me a failure. It means that he had a really great week.
Yeah. Wow.
Even though Janie smoked him. Janie worked really hard. I did notice that the girls worked really hard on their games.
Awesome.
Yeah.
On your website, One More Story Games, do you feature some games that are created by the community with your engine?
Currently, I'm going to say no to that. Yeah. And the reason being is we're in the process of developing a split of the portal. So, for example, if you go to our marketplace right now, there's some free content on there like Hard Vacuum Lullaby, and then there's the premium content as well. And we don't have a space for the unpublished amateur content. Mm-hmm. And I'm just going to call it amateur content, even though there might be professional game devs that are using the engine. But there's not a play space where people can go and openly share their content. Mm-hmm. We're in the process of developing that. Once we have the time, money, resources to sort of turn our head away from our current project, that is something that we want to do. right now, if somebody creates content, they do have to invite somebody specifically to and grant them access to their project. So everything is hidden behind the wall, with the exception of Attack of the Killer Zombie Cats. And also, Mandatory Upgrade was created by a guy by the name of Chris Tehor. And what I really admire about him is Chris was the first person to actually complete a full game. He did it while we were still developing the game engine.
Oh, wow.
So I'm sure he would have had a much easier time if he were to start that project now than back then when we were still working on it. It's a pretty solid game. We helped him win Game of the Year in Toronto by promoting that out to our network.
Wow.
Hard Vacuum won second place that year. So it's we have yet to come across anything that just like really blew our mind in terms of quality. So that's the pieces. When you're doing curation, you have to have very high standards.
Okay. Yeah.
So I'm looking forward to seeing more rock stars of just like, they're really professional. They have like a mind for detail and a mind for professionalism in game dev.
Yeah, I suppose that would be, you don't want to become like the Steam where anything can just go out there, you know?
Oh, that's the problem with Steam, right? And that's another reason why I think women on the whole, they're more likely to go and play these throwaway games that we find on other platforms. That's an awful term to say. It seems very disrespectful, but I play throwaway games. It's because I don't want to go into a community that isn't properly moderated. It's, where death threats are just like, haha, joking, I'm going to kill you. I'm not interested in that. Give me a site where it's curated and I know that the people are lovely people and that they will boot you as soon as you can say an awful thing.
Yeah. No, it's good. What are some of the things that you've discovered about yourself while developing games?
And I have more grace and grit than I ever thought possible. Both, I'd say, in equal measure. I don't know if Blair and I knew it was going to be this hard, right? I think when we set out to do this, for Blair 5 years ago when he was developing the prototype, he went in to pitch some angel investors maybe 6 months in with ideas for the prototype. And I think we might have, I know we would have had a different experience if we pitched this in, say, Silicon Valley, right? It's where we live is not really a hotbed of games investors or visionaries in digital media. And so I honestly thought for the first couple of years that we were going to get picked up and that somebody would throw, gobs of money at us and we would be like off to the races. So having to dig down deep, having to learn the skills of not always leading with your heart, but leading with compassion for yourself as well. That's a really big thing. Having to let people go when it's not working out, or having to let people go because there's no money in the bank. All right. These are challenging things that face game devs. And then the other piece of it is like, I work with my husband. It is 24/7 with my spouse. And when we're particularly stressed out, like your head hits that pillow and you're still talking about work. It's not romantic. It's not romantic. It's, but at the same time, I think we're very fortunate. I mean, Blair and I have been together for just over 22 years. We went into this 17 years into our marriage. It nearly destroyed our marriage, but it's made it stronger. We still like each other, right, honey? Silence. But it's, there have been a lot of hurdles. There have been a lot of hurdles, but we keep clearing them. And I think that as long as you're consistent and you show up and you keep doing it, people can't help but have respect for that. We're very consistent with just keep moving forward, no matter the setback.
Christian, you have next question. Oh, Christian, are you there?
Yeah, sorry, my apologies. Yeah, that was awesome. Sorry. I didn't want to interfere with that awesome statement you had. Speaking about like starting or pursuing a new project, how would you describe the creative process behind
that? Oh, I can give one answer and I can give the other.
I'd like to hear the other.
The other will probably wait until after we finish the current. Well, I would. Gosh, I really think that. Okay, here we go. This is I want to go with this. I think if this is what indie devs are listening to, because ultimately what I say doesn't really matter unless it impacts whoever's listening to this. Mm-hmm. We need to make a decision if we want to make a game, if we want to make money, or if we want to make a game that makes money. Because how we treat each of the things changes the very nature of what it is that we are creating, right? We have a lot of indie devs that are coming out into the scene that just want to make games. They're doing it for experience, they're doing it for fun, they're doing it for passion. Great. Then you have people that are just in it for the money. And my goodness, I think that half the games that I play on my mobile phone are gamified ad delivery platforms. That's what it is. I'm just watching ads and I maybe get 2 minutes of gameplay out of it. So, they're making hand over fist. But I would like to think that a large portion of us look at them and go, I was going to say something not nice. We would look at them and say, that's not the kind of game dev that I want to be, right? I don't want to sell my soul just for money, because that is, I don't know, that means that you're not in it for the artistic creation. I know somebody that literally what they do is they buy new game mechanics and then just put in their own art, and then they put it into a conglomerate app. And the more you just spend on time on that app, the more ads they serve you, and they do like a raffle every week, and some lucky winner might win $500. They were making $30,000 a month in ad revenue 2 years ago. Wow. I can see why investors would get super excited about that.
Yeah.
But you are cannibalizing and dragging down the games industry when you do stuff like that.
Yeah. That's almost like a
then you have
dystopian future where the game industry could end up.
Yeah, right. It's a perfect vehicle for ad delivery because you've got people trapped there. I'm playing a game right now, and when I go to load it up after this call, which I will, it'll be like, "Do you want double your rewards? Just watch this ad." I'm like, yes, every single time. And I take that 30 seconds to actually do mindful meditation. I'm like, I'm not even looking at your ad. I'm never going to play your game. And then you have the third people, which is they want to make a game that brings in money, right? And it's finding that balance of making the plan, being very clear, who's my target audience and where do I find them? What are their needs? What is their UX? What do I want for them? What is the experience and takeaway? For us, I wish that we'd had a little bit more of that perspective in the beginning, because, you can always, I think a lot of people go into building something with idealism in mind, and you have to be idealistic and practical at the same time. Game design documents should be legit the Bible with all of those things carefully planned out. And, they say it's going to take 2 times as long as you think. Try 3 or 4, and don't beat yourself up for it. We have been slow to deliver on the things that we said we were going to deliver, but we've always delivered. We have yet to not deliver. Be kind to yourself, but be very clear. Like, are you in this to make money? Are you in this to, and how do you want to make that money? How do you want to show up and be known?
Yeah. Good.
Well, you mentioned earlier that you're an English major, a stand-up comedian. How do you use that experience as a game developer?
Well, when I was doing Danielle's Inferno, so the three primary writers on that, so Michelle McGee, or Michelle Renee, and her pen name for that book was Olivia Rivard. So she worked on the original content. Will Hiles and Blair Leggett, they both worked on the writing for the game, but I went in as an editor and went through, and I just inserted a lot of raunchy little jokes. Like in Gluttony, I'm very proud that I'm trying to mix old pop culture with current pop culture. And there's just, at the opening of Gluttony, it harkens back to Stephen King's blueberry pie eating contest.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, wow.
I even Googled to make sure that I had the correct name of that. You could get the reference. You would not get the reference if you were not familiar with Stand By Me. And then I think the closing thing was your gag reflex is woke AF. Just trying to find, or depending on who you talk to at Schrodinger Capital, which is where the game starts off, if you talk to the couples, the coworker couple, they have this whole thing about how they're coworkers with benefits and they enjoy leather restraints and blueberry pie. Again, tying into something from Gluttony. And there's this whole dialogue thing, which is like a Ferris Bueller. And then my girlfriend's boyfriend, remember that? Yeah. And that's in there. But it's like, where can I find the funny? Like, these guys did an amazingly great job, and I just took it to that one extra layer of, like, where can I find these just a little bit more snark and fun? So in that respect, the comedy really comes out. I really got to have a lot of fun with Danielle's Inferno. The English degree is, I have a pretty exacting sense of the level of narrative that we're building for this world. I like to think that I can take pretty much anybody's writing and polish it to an incredibly high sparkling diamond. Somebody could give me their vomit draft, which is what I call my writing in the beginning. I could take a vomit draft and polish that, and it's amazing. That is something I think that the breadth of my English degree has given me. And, yes, I don't have a computing science degree, but I've also done databases and website design and technical documentation. I know how to speak that complex language that sits in the in-between. And, excuse me. And I think that helps because we work with authors. You need to know storytelling if you're going to be able to lead a storytelling company.
No, I think that's a really good point. I'll just say this on a side note. There's the university that's in the town that I live in has been cutting English degrees and history degrees and religious studies. Like, those are my degrees, religious studies and history. And they're saying that they have no place for, that there's no marketable skills for those in today's world. And that's why they're cutting them out. But I mean, I think I totally agree with you that if you start cutting those out, you start losing that ability to connect, There's need for people to be able to explain things to other people and say, this is what we're looking for, and this is how it's supposed to be built, and this is what it's supposed to do. And it boggles my mind that people don't see that connection, And I work in software development. I was a history and religious studies degree, so.
I honestly, truly believe 100% the reason why this engine will be the success that we envision it to be is because the man who designed it not only has an engineering background, a computing science degree, an English degree, a philosophy degree, and a political theory degree. It's like he's able to take complex databases, merge that with the storytelling principles with a bigger sense of the world. And you can't get that if you just live in the box that is technical. Great, you want to build the next generation, they're all going to learn how to program. And none of them have communication skills. Yeah. I would not want to be leading that team. I just, stick me on an iceberg, let me out to float. We're right there. And, I think that since you and I are roughly the same age, I was fortunate enough that when I finished my degree, it was still affordable to have a degree. And yes, I think we came away with $100,000 in student loans between the two of us. which is still pretty expensive, indexed for its time.
Mm-hmm.
But my philosophy at the time was take a course if it looks interesting.
Mm-hmm.
So I took stuff from 16 different disciplines, and I wanted to go and do a master's in English. But at the time, when I said I wanted to study the impact of the internet on the publishing industry and on literature as a whole, they said, well, we don't have anybody that would even be remotely skilled in that, because it was 2001. Right? And like, look what I'm doing now. The internet has an impact on the publishing industry, because hopefully, people like us are going to be seen as this is the new kind of Gutenberg press.
Yep.
It's, man, if I could have gone back to school and continued going back to school, I probably would have gotten a degree in theology just so that I could study other religions. Mm-hmm. There is nothing wrong with studying stuff that you don't already know, other cultures, other experiences, and history especially. If we don't understand history, we are doomed to repeat it.
Yep. You're preaching to the choir.
Amen.
So now you're currently working on a project based on the book Shakespeare's Landlord, part of the Lily Bard Mysteries by Charlaine Harris. How did this project originate?
Wow. So Blair and I and one of our staff went to a conference called VoucherCon, which rotates every year where it goes to. And it was in Long Beach, California in 2014. And this is the world's biggest mystery reader writer conference, right? So they roughly have about 2,000 authors and readers and just total mystery nerds, which is kind of what we are. Like, for fun, we like to watch things where people people die. We enjoy a good mystery. Mm. And so we went to this conference, and Sue Hampton, I think it's Sue Hampton, she's the lady who does the Alphabet series. So we saw her, we talked to her, we talked to Jeff Deaver, we talked to a couple of other authors. And our staff person, Jen, was with us, and she saw Charlaine, and she's like, oh, because everybody knows Charlaine from True Blood. They're just like, oh my God, Charlaine Harris. And I had very little fear. I will talk to people. I will talk to anybody. And so I just waited until the line died down, and I went up to her and I said, have you considered turning your books into games? And it turned out that they had, and it hadn't worked out. So in 2010, there was a Hidden Objects game with one of her characters from her True Blood universe. And unfortunately, they never finished the whole series that they were supposed to be doing. And the fans were still, to this day, like, is that ever coming back? Because, there's that sense of they're lacking closure. Yeah. So she said, well, it didn't work out. And I said, oh, well, is that something I can help you with? Like, literally, those are the words that came out of my mouth. And she said, that would be lovely, dear. And she gave me her agent's card. And when I finally worked up the nerve to actually email him, and we went back and forth, and he said, well, here's the library for content. Here's what's available for you to purchase as an IP, right? Understandably, the HBO had the True Blood rights.
Yeah.
So I picked up and I looked at what she had, and I mean, Charlaine's work has spanned now 4 TV series. She's gotten graphic novels. And so when I looked at the description for the Lily Bard series, I think I don't have a sense of if this game's going to be a hit or not. I think it's going to make an impact. So Lily Bard is a woman who, prior to the beginning of the first novel, about 4 years prior, had been abducted at gunpoint, sexually assaulted by multiple people, physically mutilated, excuse me, and left for dead. But somebody was like, let's give her a gun and see if she can, there's one bullet in it. And she manages to kill her captor, who had done this to many other women. And so, but, I was like, okay, this is the novel that I want. It's a strong female character. I didn't even get Blair to read the novel. We made an offer to Charlaine's people. They accepted the offer. Not bad for our first year out. We're a little nobody studio with big dreams and big balls. And and so And at the time, we had a very small budget in mind. Like, maybe we would do this for 30,000 Canadian. It would be a very simple narrative thing. It's blown up considerably. And we're about a year and a half later, we start to go into pre-pro for it because we had other things on the go. And Blair reads a novel and he goes, Jean, we need to talk about chapter 5. Because chapter 5 is the entire chapter, is where she shares her experience, right? All we know is that she's been having problems sleeping and she's skittish around people. And he's like, what are we going to do? Like, this is the crux of who she is. And I said, it is the crux of who she is, but we're not gamifying the rape. We're not taking people through it. It informs how we treat her character. So what that looks like in the game that we're building, it is very much a Nancy Drew meets Girl with a Dragon Tattoo kind of story. Mm-hmm. So you've got that gentler side of the mystery with a little bit of that edginess to it. We have gone from a particular art style for the PTSD flashbacks from this decision we made last summer of Black and Red, which was very horror inspiring, to a transition that we've decided to go with is monochromatic. So when she is sitting in that space of her trauma, the world has no color. And all of these pieces are, so now instead of having this one chapter, this one chunk of the story being focused around her rape and her assault, it's just hinting at it throughout the entire thing. And as the players are working to uncover who has killed the person who's dead in the beginning of the book, we're also figuring out who Lily is. And our biggest challenge is, how do we make this fun for people who have read the novels and already know who done it, but they at least get to explore the world that we put together and they see our interpretation of it. So yeah, it's a deeper novel than even I expected. Like, every time I go through and read it, I realize, oh wow, you know what? I must have missed this whole slut shaming thing. And there's conversations of complicity in there. There is a woman who is present in the room while she's being assaulted, and she whispers to Lily, I got through it, you'll get through it too. So instead of stopping it, do you know what I mean? So yeah. I couldn't have imagined 4 years ago when we approached Charlaine that we would be in the midst of this cultural awareness of Me Too.
Yeah.
So if somebody's going to say, oh, you guys are just monopolizing that, I'm like, we bought this a long time ago. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Yeah.
But I feel like it's going to, our process and our approach to this is going to open up a larger conversation about mature content in games and how do you approach that.
Yeah. No, it's funny that you said that, because our last episode was about how, games that come out and they tell a narrative, and you a lot of times they have ties to what's happening now in today's world, and people are like, oh, you're just marketing on that. Like, that's not how software development works. Like, you just don't, hey, I got an idea. Yeah, exactly. But kind of tied with that too, we talked about how difficult it is to, you don't want to hit over your reader over the head with, or your player over the head with, like, this is the story I want to tell you. This is exactly the politics, right? It's about the narrative and then what you get out of that narrative.
Yeah.
What are some of the challenges, I guess? I know you mentioned a little bit about what you're going to do with the, her background, but, given the main character, Lily, she has that dark, mysterious, and painful history. How do you portray that in a game without giving away too much of her past, and then without upsetting players who may have gone through similar things as Lily?
Well, first and foremost, I think we're making it very clear, and be clear on like purchasing pages and info pages, that this is mature content, that there is, like, I recall one of our artists, because we are planning out the flashback images that are placed at appropriate times, we're in high stress, right? And there is a scene where she's being held down, and he had planned it for earlier in the game, and I was like, the players are not ready for that image at that stage of the game. when they get to the end of the game where she is, somebody attempts to attack her again, it's an appropriate place to place that image because there is a movement, a natural movement of this character's development where she gets to that place and it's like, hell no. Our hope is that regardless if readers have gone on to read the entire 5 novels or not, that they'll have a complete experience of Lily's arc within our one game, even though we're already making plans for the second game and so on. It's, so having those content warnings on there, and, it's interesting. We've shown some of the flashback art to people who have had PTSD. So, for example, when she goes to bed that first night at the end of the game, or the end of the first chapter, she has this image of a man standing over her, and we've been very conscious to make sure that the player it's never directed at them. So it's as though you're watching it happen to someone else, right? Because the camera's focus is very important as a player. If we're part of that experience, then it's traumatizing us in a different way. But what was interesting about some of the feedback we got on the art was those faceless men are the faceless men in my nightmares too. And, it's ultimately what we want from, other than, having commercial success so that we would be able to continue making these games, is what we want is for people to have a deeper sense of empathy for somebody that has PTSD, or somebody that is still emotionally healing. In one part of the novel, she has a sexual relationship with somebody. I won't give it away, but she has a sexual relationship with somebody, and she's able to enjoy sex for the first time in a long time. And she says to him, just because I enjoyed it today doesn't mean that I'm not going to be triggered again in the future, right? It's not like an eraser. So making sure that we add that nuance into the narrative, because it's a journey, it's experience. It's 2 steps forward, 1 step back. And how do we get that across? We make sure we're having crisis counselors as part of our consulting process as well, right? Yeah. It's trying to be very mindful with this material. And what I find interesting is there are a lot of Nancy Drew fans that grew up with the Nancy Drew game series, and they all started following us one week because somebody had made an announcement in their Facebook group, and I was like, and this is Nancy Drew meets Girl with the Dragon Tattoo. Yeah. Right? Yeah. A little bit darker, a little bit more mature, and they're like, we can't wait. So there is a market of people out there that want the mature content. And it's making sure that we frame that in a way that makes people understand that we're not doing this to glorify or diminish. Like it's striking that fine line of this is a human experience that we are telling in story form.
Yeah, and as a player, I appreciate the fact that you take that time and think through those types of things without without just going in there brashly and just saying, "Hey, I know how to do this. I can just do this," right? So, that's really powerful.
Thank you. It means a lot to us. We really want to get this right, and we have had some challenges on the project which have led to delays. But I think ultimately those delays, as much as we don't want them, have led us to rethink the approach in the story altogether.
Yeah. Yeah, it sounds like just pursuing creating that story and depicting it through a visual medium seems like just such a huge challenge and undertaking.
And I would say so, and it has a lot to do with the fact that this is not something game devs should take lightly. Mm-hmm. You think about that Dragon Cancer. A friend of mine wrote a game called Shrinking Pains, which is I think it's on itch and on Steam, and it's about the struggle with an eating disorder. And she knows that from firsthand experience. We're going to start to see more content reflective of real life experience. I'm hard of hearing. 6% of the world's population is, I think it's actually more than that. There's a large portion of the population that has visible and invisible disabilities, but is not represented in game content.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Game content and film content and even music videos, those are about the idealized form of human, but that's not what makes us human. What makes us human is who we are as we are.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, you mentioned the game That Dragon Cancer, which I think was incredibly powerful in the way that it can put you in these parents' shoes and experiencing the atrocities that they had to put up with and kind of coming to terms with that along just like they did. And I was wondering, kind of, are there any games that you found most effective at telling a story or kind of providing an experience that couldn't have been conveyed through a different medium?
Oh gosh, I feel like I haven't played enough games in the last decade to even appropriately comment on that.
Yeah.
I can share with you that when we were talking to some people, some film directors and screenwriters, we were approached by a woman who wanted to do, she was working on a documentary of Japanese internment camps. And she said to us, could I use Story Stylist to create a game with that? And I don't know about you, but my first reaction was, let's not call it a game. Yeah. Let's call this an interactive story, because what you are seeing is we have a certain association with that word game. Game is joy, game is fun, game is carefree. An interpretation of a Japanese internment camp experience is probably none of those things. You know, I don't know if you guys remember, but like back in the 90s, there was a movie by Roberto Benigni. I want to say it's Life is Beautiful, possibly was the name of it. And it's about this man who is essentially a clown to his son, trying to make it seem like the Holocaust is not happening, right? Like, well, that was interesting, but there are certain things you can't really bring a ha-ha to. And, you know, or somebody else that we spoke to that wanted to share his experience of having survived the London Blitz as a kid and how he went off into the English countryside. So I think that we're going to see more biographical content. As for me playing some of those games, I haven't had a chance lately. I really do stick to the very lighthearted puzzle things. Yeah, I know there's some really great stuff. I was reading an article yesterday about how, I want to say it's Playcraft in New York has an event that's coming up very soon. And a lot of those games that are in there, sorry, I think I lost you guys. There we are.
Yep.
Okay. It's my fault. So a lot of the games that they're putting on there are stories of people who have been, they're telling their experience as refugees and as immigrants, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's a powerful time to be in indie games. I think we still have some challenges ahead of us, and not just me, but indie gamers in general. It's trying to cut through the noise and make meaningful, important games.
Awesome.
Yeah.
That was an awesome conversation, Jean.
It went deep.
It did. Holy cow. Well, Jean, how would you recommend people go about seeking to play your games?
I would love for people to come and check out. They can go to bookmeetsgame.com. They can go to OneMoreStoryGames.com. They can go to story.games. We are all of those things.
That's awesome.
They can play our games in browser. They can download stuff onto Android tablet. Danielle's Inferno is a lot of fun, so they can play through the first 20 minutes of it, and if they love it, they can buy it. We've got some free games on there too, and we're on Twitter, we're on Facebook, and yeah, we're very eager to have conversations with people who think they want to create their own games. I hope that we get to the point in the next 12 months where we have like a little kit. It's like, you want to make a game with your kid this weekend? Let's get started, because I think that would be a lot of fun too.
Yeah. And then you mentioned the social media. How can people reach out to you then?
They can find me on Twitter at Jean Leggett, and for One More Story Games, it's at One More Story Games. Facebook is /One More Story Games, And yeah, we're on there. I am a social media fiend, and I love it. So,
That's
well,
awesome.
thank you so much, Jean. It was really, really a pleasure to have you on the show today and talking through your company and the visions that you have, and then the game itself, Shakespeare Landlord. Thank you so much.
thank you guys for having me. It's been an absolute pleasure.
Awesome.
Thank you.
We really look forward to seeing your future projects.
Thanks. Me too.
Yeah.
All right, listeners, stay tuned, and we'll be right back. And welcome back to GamerHeads. Before we go, I wanted to get into what we've been playing. So, Christian, since you're somewhat new to the podcast, why don't you go first? What have you been playing?
All right. So since the last podcast with VGO, I finished Far Cry 5, and I got my Far Cry 5 Platinum Trophy, which I was very excited about. And I came out extremely positive. I enjoyed it a lot. There's a reason why I enjoy the Far Cry games. They offer this formula of like liberating these outposts, and they just let you do it however you want, and it's a lot of fun. So I'll like drive in with a helicopter, I'll jump out of the helicopter, I'll wingsuit into a base, and then while I'm parachuting down, I'll pick off a couple guys, and then I'll toss a couple grenades down, and then by the time I hit the ground, everybody's gone, and the outpost is mine.
Wow.
It feels great. It's very satisfying.
Mm.
And the having finished it, the ending, I won't spoil it here, but it's different from how they've approached endings for the previous entries, and it's silly. It doesn't make a lot of sense, but I really enjoyed it. I thought it was fun.
Wow. Yeah, I have the last game I have is Far Cry Primal.
Yeah.
I have to play more of that. I played a little bit of it, but I should play more of that game.
Yeah, it's one of my platinum trophies. I wouldn't say it's the best Far Cry game, but it's a Far Cry game.
Yeah. I think I have all of them, but the fifth one now. So.
Oh wow.
What are you gonna do next? Are you gonna play some of the DLC content on this game?
Yeah, I'm thinking about it, but probably not. Unless it goes on sale sometime soon, then I'll consider jumping in. But yeah, I think I'm okay not touching any of it.
Hmm. And what are you playing anything else, or what's your next on your dock, I guess?
Yeah. I also played through Mario and Rabbids.
Oh, you did?
Mario plus Rabbids Kingdom Battle, and I finished it.
You weren't even that far last time we talked. Holy cow.
But I finished it, yeah.
Oh my goodness.
I enjoyed it a whole lot. It's very entertaining. It's turn-based strategy, so you kind of know what you're getting when you get into it, but it's focused heavily on movement, which makes it kind of stand out in the genre. It's kind of wacky because you're like jumping around and you're like moving like across the entire level in one turn, which is kind of crazy and awesome, and it feels really like liberating when you play these other turn-based strategy games where you like move 2 spaces and then the other people move 2 spaces. And yeah, turn-based strategy games, there's just a lot of deep thought and forward thinking while you're planning your next move, and it just gets me into like this zone where I'm just zoning out and thinking, okay, if I do this, then this rabbit is going to jump on me. I don't want to do that. And then I just strategize everything, and it's just really satisfying to like plan out your tool set and approach a situation having planned for it in the past and watching your plan just beautifully execute in front of your eyes. It's a lot of fun. And there's they dole out new enemies and mechanics and concepts at a fairly steady pace. So they provide interesting and clever wrinkles to keep you from resting on your laurels or anything like that. So they keep you guessing. They keep you from using any one strategy consistently. And the first couple areas I enjoyed a whole lot. I know that you played the first world, Roger, and that's probably my favorite one because they do a lot of fun mashups between like Mario stuff. Like there's a bullet bill that's stuck in a pair of underwear or shorts or something.
Yeah.
And there's like Goombas jumping around with Rabbids, and it's a good fun time. But as the areas go on, they get kind of predictable. I mean, there's 4 of them, and you could pretty much guess what all of them are going to be before you even play. And I feel like they kind of got less creative with how they mashed up the Mario and Rabbids stuff together as they went on. But the cutscenes in between are like an ample reward for all of the effort you put in. They really did a great job with the animation and everything, and those are really fun to watch. And the music also is fantastic. It's by Grant Kirkhope of Banjo-Kazooie and Rare Fame. And I feel like he was a perfect choice to score the game because his style it puts a good lighthearted twist on the traditionally kind of lighthearted Mario soundtrack. And I really enjoyed it. He likes his weird like brass instruments and stuff like that. That was really cool.
Yeah, yeah.
And the bosses are also something I wanted to talk about because they're awesome. I loved them. They're all great mashups between Mario and Rabbids stuff, which is what I love about this game. Except for the final boss, because they kind of went the intimidating, just like powerful route instead of the silly route, which is what I wanted them to do. But it's all the rest of them are good fun, and you got some surprise appearances from some guests, which is fun too. But yeah, I really enjoyed it. I had some flaws with it, like when you're moving your character, you can't undo a movement action. So if you're like just moving your character, you can't like undo it. If you accidentally press A, it's all done. And that screwed over a couple of my turns, but I guess it makes sense because you can damage someone while you're moving, and that might like cause a critical or something. And you wouldn't want to let the player re-roll that or something like that. But it was a little nitpick that got on my nerves a couple times. Some of the humor can be a little too Rabbids-y, so if that's not up your alley, you're probably not going to enjoy the cutscenes that you're rewarded with after playing the game. But they usually tend to be pretty creative.
Yeah, yeah. Did you play? Are you going to play the DLC?
It's very tempting. This game has a whole lot of content. After you finish like everything, there's like challenges that you can go back and do, and you get new abilities that you can go back and go to new areas with. So it's something I'm definitely considering. It looks awesome. The Donkey Kong theme looks really cool.
Yeah, yeah. It's the Mario and Rabbids game, I got it on sale. And I want to go back to it. It's just that the other games right now are just taking so much of my attention that I've been playing. So.
Yeah, totally. It's hard to go back to a game that came out like such a long time ago.
Like a year ago now, right?
Speaking, yeah. But I took the time and did it because I got it on sale. I think $60 probably isn't the right price for this game, but if you get it for like $30, which is what I got it for, then absolutely, it's easy to recommend at that price.
Yeah, I think you can pick it up now for $30. I mean, I know that there was sales going on, but I feel like now it's just you could. At least you can find it used for $30.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
Nice. Anything else?
Well, there's one more game I've played, Roger.
Oh no. Please don't tell me. do not tell me the game. If you tell me the game that Ben was playing.
Oh, what game has Ben been playing?
Granny?
No, it has not been Granny. Okay. Don't worry, I'm not going to disappoint you.
Okay, because I was going to say, my friend Kyle from the Real Dudes podcast messaged me and said, I picked up Granny.
Oh, no.
No. Stop talking about Granny.
Oh, no. Well, I ended up picking up Hollow Knight because it just came out on Switch. But I actually ended up getting the PC version because I was like, should I get the Switch version? I saved $5 and got the PC version, and I'm playing it in 4K at 60 frames per second, Roger. And I put like 12 hours into it.
You can't play in handhold mode, though. You can't play it in hand. Yeah,
I can't do that. I can't bring it to work with me, Roger. I messed up. But thankfully, I'm almost done with it. I put about like 12 hours into it or so, so I'm getting towards the end, I believe, if the game is, convincing me correctly. But I am really enjoying it. I like it a whole lot. I wasn't sure if I would. I was hesitant to pick it up because just looking at the art style, I wasn't sure if it was something that I would kind of get into because it's very cartoony, I think would be the best way to describe it. Not in tone, but in but in art. And it kind of just started growing on me, which was weird because it does this wonderful thing that my favorite JRPGs do, which is mix kind of this like serious, almost macabre darkness with lighthearted silliness. Yeah. And it's just really charming to me. It hits me. It hits me where I live.
Yeah. Yeah. No, and they're coming out with a new DLC coming out soon too, and it's going to be free.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah. So I got that game too. I haven't played much of it because of the other games I've been playing. Particularly just one game that I've been playing.
Yeah.
But I did play a little bit of it. And if you like the Metroidvania type games, You'd like this game a lot.
Yeah. Metroidvanias aren't something that, like, on a surface level appeal to me, because I've never played Metroid except for the first Metroid Prime. That's the only one I've played beginning to end. So I've played Castlevania Symphony of the Night, and I enjoyed that a lot. But usually there's like a barrier to entry. When I see Metroidvania, I'll start it and be like, yeah, this is a Metroidvania, all right. I see a lot of things that I can't do right now and that I'm going to need the ability to do later.
Yeah.
But this one, what it does is it makes a lot of those abilities that you unlock movement-based. So it ties a lot of those abilities to movement. And as a result of that, it changes like entirely how you traverse through levels.
Yeah.
So it just keeps me coming back, and I'm like, okay, yes, I got a new movement, and now I can just tear through this area that I initially had a lot of trouble with. But yeah, I'm coming up on the end of it. I'll probably say more about it on the next podcast when I can look back on its entirety.
Nice. Cool. Well, I've been playing Octopath Traveler.
Nice.
Some more. And that game, I know like the big complaint about that game from people is that, the story lines don't seem to really like cross over with each other, but I don't know. I'm not that far. I'm like 10 hours in. And I feel like there's one part where I was with one character and the villain from another character showed up. And I was like, did I miss that? Was I just thinking that's them? But I'm pretty sure it's one of the villains that was in Primrose, my main character's villain. So, and so I know that's a big complaint that people have said, but I think about this. I think about my time playing tabletop RPGs like Dungeons and Dragons and such.
Yeah.
And a lot of times, you'll play with a cast of 3 or 4 friends, and their storylines typically don't line up with each other, right? They're just like, why are these 4 adventurers working together? Because they are, either because they want to get gold or because they're just like, this is the noble thing to do.
Yeah.
So to me, that doesn't really bother me. And a lot of times, if you have a good DM, they'll sprinkle in background of each character, and then you play along those storylines. They don't have to do that. But so it never bothers me that these, that there's not this, connecting over arc of the story. But I don't know. I'm not far enough. Maybe they do. Maybe there is like this over, story arc that kind of connects them all together.
Yeah.
But we'll see. But man, the combat in that game is really good. I don't mind grinding. So for me, I'll pick up a new character. So I have 5 of the 8 now. I just picked up the cleric, and so before I took on her boss, I was just grinding. Just going around and grinding, so I can get her like high level, so we can take on the boss.
Yeah.
To me, that doesn't bother me. I know a lot of people don't like grinding, but I love grinding in RPGs. I like to watch my characters level up, I guess.
Is there story stuff that you don't experience when you choose your main character? Like, do you have to play through the game and choose every main character in order to see everything story-wise?
No. So when you go to each character, when you meet each character in their town, you can select to watch their prelude of the story, and then you basically play through their beginning story.
I see.
So you play through the prelude, and then they'll say, and this is why I need your help, because you'll learn about their story, and then you join them in their quest to take out the bad guy.
Oh, nice.
So I have 2 characters now. Primrose, who can allure NPCs to fight along her side, and she's a dancer, and I also have Ophelia, which is the cleric. And she can do this like guidance of light, and they will follow you around, and then or guidance or something like that, and then they fight along your side. So actually, I can have up to 6 players fighting on my cast. So that's the last boss I took on was Ophelia's boss, and it was pretty easy because I had 6 characters that I could just call upon basically. So I've been playing that, and then I've been playing No Man's Sky again.
Ooh.
So the next No Man's Sky Next came out, and now No Man's Sky is also released on the Xbox One. And I have to say, like, I've been kind of enjoying it. It's not I don't know. It's weird. I still don't think it's as good as Elite Dangerous. I still think Elite Dangerous is better in regards to like a space game. But this game is like a simplified version of Elite Dangerous. I mean, Elite Dangerous is the learning curve is pretty high in that game.
Yeah.
No Man's Sky, I mean, there's just the hard part for me was understanding like what do they want me to do? How do they want me? Oh, they want me to craft this. Okay. I mean, it wasn't really so much like the mechanics. It was just understanding like what they wanted me to do and what they wanted me to craft. But I played it a long time ago. I didn't play much of it. And this time around, I built my spaceship. I went flying to the next planet. And now they want me to build a base. And I'm like, okay, I guess I can do that. But, yeah, so it's cool. I mean, it really is multiplayer this time. I actually ran into other players. That's
awesome.
That's cool.
Yeah, that's really cool. I think as someone who almost gave into the temptation to buy No Man's Sky when it first released, I haven't played it at all. And seeing this next update, I think is a perfect time to pick it up, especially with how cheap it's gotten on PS4. And if you've got friends to play with, I see a lot of reasons that you should give this a try.
Yeah, agreed. I know I was talking to you about it. I'm like, you should get it. We were like, messaging each other back and forth, like, man, this game's great. So yeah, I've been playing that. And then I've been playing more of the Galactic Z game.
Yeah.
So I did try the special event that was going on. I don't know if I mentioned that last time. I got my butt kicked, and I was like, I'm not high enough level. You have to be level 12 at least to participate in the event. And I was like, sweet, I'm level 12. I can go do it. And yeah, that's the reason it's a minimum of level 12. Like, you have to be much higher than that. So
yeah.
But I kind of like it. I mean, I shouldn't say I kind of like it. I like it. It is something that's just easy to jump in and start playing. So
yeah,
that's why I like the game. And I did stream it. So you can go up to our Twitch channel, twitch.tv/GamerHeads podcast. I was streaming that game and just kind of walking through the mechanics and like what that game all entails and such. So if you're interested in seeing more about that game, you can go watch our stream on that. So
awesome.
So before we leave then, Christian, how can people get a hold of you?
Yeah, you can get me at Christian Kubza on Twitter, or just hit up GamerHeads because I'm watching that as well.
Okay. And then you can also reach us on Twitter for GamerHeads. You can reach us at GamerHeadsPC. You can email us at GamerHeadsPodcast@gmail.com. And then Facebook.com/GamerHeadsPodcast. Yeah, and Christian's going to be our moderator on our Facebook page. So, yeah, for that.
Yay.
Thank God, somebody else that can pull some weight here, that I don't have to do that.
Yeah.
So we'll be more active on Facebook as well. So stay tuned for that. All right. Well, thank you again to our guest, Jean Leggett. She, again, is the CEO at OneMoreStoryGames. It was awesome to have her on the show. Go out and try the games. The games are really fun and really makes you think. So, yeah, try that out. And Christian, thank you for being on the show.
Yeah, thanks for inviting me, Roger.
All right. Well, with that, for Christian and myself, thank you so much for listening to GamerHeads. And GamerHeads out.